Are you a good fit for an Uber driver? What is the best Uber driver? Hi, my name is Levi, and this is the Daily Drive. So I've been an Uber driver for well over 5 years. I've done more than 13,000, getting close to 14,000 trips. And I've engaged with a lot of drivers, and I think there are bad, kind of good, and definitely good people, good fits for Uber driving. And that's what I'll talk about in this episode. I'll also just kind of briefly introduce a new segment where I'm going to talk about my best ride of the day yesterday. And then, of course, we'll get to your questions at the end of the show. My ride of the day. So yesterday, I picked up a passenger that I've given a ride to before. He's a college senior. And what I liked most about it was that he seemed very disciplined, like he was a man on a mission, a great tipper. And I've picked him up to take him to the airport, and I've taken him from, the airport back to his college. He's going to school to become a lawyer. He's a senior in college. And when I asked him what his bucket list was, what does he need to accomplish? You think about, like, it's your last year as an undergraduate in college. Are there parties or are there waterfalls you want to go jump off or whatever? And I could just tell by his pause and his kind of demeanor that, he wasn't really expecting this. I don't think he has a bucket list. And all he said was, there's a new restaurant in town I think I want to eat at before I leave. And it just made me think about different types of people, people that are disciplined and focused on accomplishing things, and kind of made me think about today's podcast. Who's a good fit for Uber driving and who's a bad fit? So let's jump into the list. Who is first a bad fit? What are the traits? What are the characteristics of somebody who's not going to do well as an Uber driver? I think the first bad fit for Uber driving is you need a lot of money. Like, you think you can do this full time. Now I do it full time, and I'm not trying to discourage you from doing it full time. But if you need a lot of money, like you need to make $10,000 a month after expenses as an Uber driver, there's maybe a select few cities in America where that can work. But for the most part, you should expect you're going to make somewhere between minimum wage and $30 an hour. And $30 an hour, rarely, mostly minimum wage after expenses. It's just a crowded marketplace right now. So you're a bad fit. I'm a bad fit. Anybody's a bad fit for Uber driving if you expect to make a lot of money. You should expect to make after expenses somewhere between $800 to $1,200 a week, driving somewhere between 40 to 60 hours a week, doing basic Uber X. So if you need a lot of money, you're not a good fit for Uber driving. You're also a bad fit for Uber driving if you're bad with numbers. You think like, hey, I'm just driving a car, but there's a lot of numbers kind of coming at you that really matter. First, your ability to analyze if a trip is a good trip or a bad trip. Uber is going to send you a trip, and typically it's in the middle of while you're in another trip, and you're going to have 7 seconds to analyze all of the data and decide if that's a good trip, because they'll give you the mileage to, the mileage from, the time, pickup time, the pickup time, the passenger rating, the address. You might even see it on a map. There's going to be a lot of data coming at you really quickly. And if you're bad with numbers and bad analyzing that, it'll be really hard to be a good Uber driver. In addition to that, I think a lot of people look at Uber driving and they go, I drove all week or I drove all weekend or whatever it is, and Uber put $1,000 into my account. Yay, I got $1,000. But you need to be a disciplined, organized accountant. You need to take those numbers, the dollar amount that was given to you, and put away money for fuel, depreciation, maintenance on your vehicle, future costs of other things. You don't just get $1,000 into your account or $500 or whatever comes into your account and you get to spend it. You have to have the ability to analyze and know what numbers are right for you, and then take a portion of that numbers and put it away in a savings account for future use, because you're going to need it. You're not a good fit for Uber driving if you're terrible with people. If you don't like people, you should go do DoorDash or go do Amazon delivery or some sort of other gig that's out there. Go become a typist on your computer, work remote, whatever it is, because there will be people of all walks of life, in all stages of life, and all forms of inebriation getting into your vehicle. You might think everybody's like you, but the reality is no one's like you. The way you use Uber or taxis or any other rideshare is unique to you. Every single person getting into your car is going to be different and unique, and you have to like them. I mean, or at least respect them, but you cannot dislike them. Disliking groups of people for race, religions, poverty or income status, where they're coming from, whatever it might be, even body odor. Well, it doesn't mean you have to like sometimes some really bad smelling people, but bad smelling people will get into your car, and you have to give them a safe, prompt, a professional ride. So you have to like people. I think the final person that's not really good at Uber driving is somebody that doesn't have the discipline to do the job. I think it takes a lot of discipline to be a rideshare driver, an Uber driver. And this is what I mean. The discipline to turn the app on and go out and do it. It's you have to have that discipline because you're not on a schedule. There's no boss telling you, here's your shift, here's when you have to go work. You have to have the discipline to say, okay, I need to get up. It's Friday night. I'm not gonna go out drinking with my buddies. I'm not gonna smoke weed. I'm gonna get in my car and I'm gonna go drive tonight because now is the time to go earn money. So the discipline to reject current enjoyment of life, spending time with your family, whatever it might be, and going out and doing the work because that's when the money exists and that's when you should go do it. You should also have the discipline to reject bad rides. Uber and Lyft are going to send you really, really crappy offers. A lot of drivers get offended by them, but you have to avoid the temptation of taking it or the ignorance of taking it and take the rides that really work for you. They're going in the right direction. They're at the right locations. They're paying you the right amount. They cover your cost and your profitability needs, whatever it is. You have to have that discipline. Bad Uber drivers are definitely people that don't have that discipline. Now, here's the gray area, a little bit of nuance. I think if you have short term income needs, Uber might be a good fit for you. So even if you're bad in those other areas I just talked about, you don't have the discipline, you don't like people, but you kind of just need to make $1,000 or $5,000 over the summer or whatever it might be, Uber might be a good fit for you. If you're a night owl or an early bird person, you might be a good fit for Uber driving because there's not a lot of rides during the middle of the day, but at 2 a.m., there's not a lot of people willing to drive at that time. And there are people looking for rides. You might be a good fit for Uber driving. Now, I think if you're an introvert, Uber might be a good fit for you too. I think there's this meme that Uber drivers like to talk. I know I do. But I think if you could just keep to yourself, have the courtesy to say hello, make sure you're picking up the right passenger and those type of things. But a lot of times you're out there alone all night, all day driving. You might be meeting people throughout the day, but if you can handle just sitting in your car by yourself long periods of time, not having to be around other people, it might actually be a good fit for you. I think definitely kind of going back to the first point, if you're a side hustler, somebody that just needs a little bit of weekly cash, if you need $100 a week, yeah, Uber might be a really good fit for you. And I think it's a gray area if you're interested in testing out if you're good for self-employment, because that's what you are. You don't work for Uber, you don't work for Lyft, you don't work for Amazon or any of these gig apps. You work for yourself and you're not sure if you can work for yourself, both the accounting side to it, the tax side to it, the just quite frankly, the discipline. If you want to test it all out, you might be a good fit to at least try Uber driving. Now, of course, who is a good fit? Now I'm going to probably describe myself a little bit here, because I love it. But, if you love people of all types and all walks, you're going to love Uber driving because you're going to see everybody and it's great. It really is. I love the fact that random people that I've never met before are going to get into my car and I'm going to get just a brief moment of time to potentially connect with them. It doesn't mean I have to talk to them. I'm not saying we have to talk or whatever else it is. I just like being around people. And another kind of little side note here, you don't have a long-term commitment with any of these people. They're not going to be your friends. They're not going to be your family. You're probably never going to see them again. So if you love people and love just those brief momentary kind of interactions, Uber might be a really good fit for you. If you love driving your car, and what I mean love driving your car, you're going to be a good fit for Uber if you like being in your car because you're not going to go out racing down country roads. You're definitely not going to be doing long distance highway driving for the most part. You're going to be in strange neighborhoods late at night, dark, Uber pinging you, but you like being in your car. You like the smell of your car. You like the power of being behind the wheel. You feel confident behind that. You like maybe listening to podcasts in between rides. If you like being in your car, Uber's a great fit for you. Because if you're going to do like a long shift, I know like sometimes I do like 8, 10, 12-hour shifts. My butt is sitting in those seats for all that time. I've got my seat in all of my cars are molded to me because I'm putting on thousands of miles every single month. Yeah, you gotta love being in your car. And I said you're a bad fit if you're not disciplined to be an Uber driver. But another way of saying it is you have to be strategic being an Uber driver. Um, what I mean by that is like you have to think the way the apps don't want you to think. Let me be a little bit more. I'm trying to think of a good way to explain this. What I mean is you have to like say, I'm going to drive in this neighborhood and focus on that neighborhood for the first 2 hours of the night because I know that neighborhood, let's say like a university, they're going to be going out to go to eat and dinner and stuff like that. Then I'm going to drive over to this neighborhood where the hospital is going to be doing a shift change. And I know I can pick up a couple of nurses on their way home or something like that. I'm going to avoid this neighborhood where the concert is during these hours. So I went out and did my research and I found that there's a concert tonight because traffic is going to be backed up. And so you can't just turn it on and go. I mean, you can, but you're not going to make nearly as much money as if you're strategic. So people that like to actually kind of like think both in a map format, both with kind of like understanding people and be human behaviors. If you can look at a map and human behaviors and be strategic about it, you might be able to make more money and you might be a really, really good fit for Uber driving. If you understand money, like, well, you probably are a good fit for Uber driving. Like I said, a lot of drivers just get out there, make money, and then take the money that goes in their account and then spend it. But if you understand money, of all how to account for things like how much does your car cost you per mile to operate, fuel, maintenance, depreciation, whatever it might be, how much money do I need saved up for an emergency? Like, here's a really key thing. You're going to need $2,500 put into a bank account if you become an Uber driver, Lyft, or whatever else. And the reason why is because that's the deductible on those insurance plans. See, if you get into a wreck as an Uber driver with a passenger in your car, yeah, Uber's insurance is going to cover it after the $2,500 deductible. So you better have $2,500 set aside, or you're not going to have a car. You're not going to get your car fixed. It's going to be a real pain in the butt. So it's really important that you're good with money. Another good example is, and this is where I fail. I'm really not good at this. Is you're going to be out driving around in your city, and you're going to see that taco place that you really like. I like Mike and Ike's. I'll stop in a gas station and spend $3 or whatever on a box of Mike and Ike's. And I'm not good with money when it comes to that because it's easy access. I can just pull into a place, quickly get some, Mike and Ike's and go. You're going to have to be good with money and disciplined with money to save it, to not spend it because you're going to be out and about in your city. And it's really important. I think the final thing that says you're a good fit for Uber driving, any type of rideshare, is that you're really good with customer service. because you are the customer service person. Passengers are going to find every reason, good or bad, whatever it is, to make the pickup of them difficult. They're not going to be at the pin where they put the pickup spot. They're going to delay. They're going to be slow getting down the stairs or the elevator. They're not going to know how to use the app sometimes. And they're going to need favors. They're going to need to add stops, whatever it might be. If you're good with customer service and know how to handle it, both good situations and bad situations, you know how to handle it. Do it the way you want to do it, because they're not going to, Uber is not providing the customer service. Uber provided the connection. They're the broker that put the driver and the passenger together. But honestly, you represent Uber, you represent Lyft, whether you like it or not. Just in that moment of time while that person's in your car, you don't work for them, but you represent them. The driver is the embodiment of those apps. And passengers need to get from here to here, and you're the customer service person driving them. And so if you know how to listen to their needs, be patient with them, get the radio set the way they want it, the temperature, take the route that they want, whatever it is. And if you're good with customer service, you're a professional driver, you're probably going to earn a little bit more in tips. And you have to like it. You see, you can't do good customer service and not like it. That's what makes you a good fit for Uber driving. Well, what do you think? Did I miss anything? Are there other traits, characteristics of people that are both good or maybe bad for Uber driving? Let me jump into your questions now. Ride Upstate. Ride Upstate said, he said, kind of along with what we talked about, you definitely need to save for future expenses. I was talking about depreciation and putting money away for that and how I calculate that. But John, he's like, hey, you need to, make sure that you also save for future expenses, like the potential for insurance rate increases and things like that. Super smart. Totally agree. Flight Sim. He also recommended to all of the other Uber drivers out there that passengers will walk up to your car with keys in their hand and they're going to touch and they're going to scratch your paint. And there's almost like literally nothing you can do about it as a driver. And then you can do some paint protection film, maybe around the door handles. But there's no way for you to prove that they scratched and damaged your car. And he said, just have some touch-up paint. And yeah, that's a good point. Make sure you know the color code of your vehicle and you can have some touch-up paint for those key holders, is the way he described it. So good recommendation. Frank called me a cutie. All right, I'll take that. And finally, Z asked, where am I driving? I publish a lot of my numbers, and I think sometimes we go, wow, that person's making good money or that person's making bad money relative to us. I know I look at like a Chicago Uber black driver and he's got like $20, $30 surges all night. And I'm just like, what? That would be amazing. I would love to drive a Cadillac Escalade around Chicago on a $20, $30 surge all night. That would be absurd. But so she asked though, where do I drive? I drive in Syracuse. So if you want to come up here to Syracuse, I'll show you all around the city of Syracuse, Ithaca, Binghamton, where I drive, and I'll gladly help you out. But I don't think most people want to move up here. So to drive Uber X for, $20 an hour, $30 an hour. So, well, that's it. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm trying to really improve the podcast. I'm trying to add some more segments to it to give it a little bit more, maybe advice, but also I want to kind of talk with passengers a little bit too. If you're a driver for 2025, I want you to drive your way. You're going to get a lot of drivers that give you advice, like me just now. Maybe we're right, maybe we're wrong, who knows? Take it for what it is. I want you to drive your way in 2025. Do you listen to advice, but do it the way you want to do it, because you're probably already good at it. I bet you are. Hey, my name is Levi. This is the Daily Drive Podcast. I want you to be safe, healthy, and happy. I want you to know that I'm cheering for you. Be well. Bye.